An expensive polo that doesn't fit you properly is not going to look nearly as good as an inexpensive one that fits your body right. Now, there are reasons you want to go with a higher quality polo shirt, but in general, do not buy anything that doesn't fit your body properly. Now, the key fit points here are going to be shoulders, chest, and torso. Length matters as well. Polos can be shortened, although I recommend you just buy one off the rack that fits you properly, but they can't be lengthened. Another key area is the fit in the sleeve. So for me, a relatively thin guy with a bit of a dad bod, I'd have to say the rib knit cuff along with the hem actually really works with my body type. It's a really nice tailored fit, but it's got a little bit of extra room in the stomach area. And for me personally, I love the look. And the biggest mistake I see a lot of guys make here is they don't find the colors that make them look absolutely amazing. I get it. You've got your standby colors, but if you can find a color that works with your complexion, that works with your eye color, that works with your natural colors, if you can find that color, that shirt is going to get you compliments every time you wear it. And I know some of you guys don't care about compliments, but for the rest of us, it's a nice ego boost. It feels good. Now, what about the range of the polo? Basically, how far can you dress this down? How far can you dress it up? Well, the most casual polo style shirt we're going to see out there is going to be the Henley. And this one actually does not have a collar. Technically, it is not a polo, but it's still in the same family. So that's why I'm mentioning it. But polos are really nice because, again, you go with a peak, you go with cotton. This can be a very casual outfit. You can wear it on the tennis court. You can wear it out on the rugby field. If you're out there playing polo, you're going to see these type of shirts. That being said, you can, to a degree, wear them even with a casual suit. So a suit, same jacket, trousers made from the same material color, and you're wearing this white polo that looks really nice, made from either a jersey or a performance material that has a very strong color. And that's going to be key, is it looks like it is placed there. Again, if it's incredibly hot, it's going to be out an outdoor wedding and they still want you to dress well. I would say you could get away with wearing a polo, or, if a necktie is not required, then definitely you can get away with wearing it, especially wearing it with a sports jacket or a blazer. Again, the lines are a bit gray here. You've got to know what the dress code is. Now let's address the age-old question, do you tuck in a polo shirt? And the majority of people are going to think, well, no, it's made to be worn untucked. And if you look at the hem, you look at basically the bottom of the shirt, you can actually tell the design. So if it goes straight across, this is one that is definitely meant to be worn untucked. These are going to be oftentimes cut shorter. So even if you wear them, they're only going to have maybe 1 inch to 2 inches past the waistline. You're also going to see other ones that have a little bit of a vent on the side. And these right here, again, are made to be worn untucked. That being said, there are some polo shirts that are a bit longer. Those oftentimes made from jersey. If it goes 3 to 4 inches past the waistline. Another telltale sign is if the back is longer than the front. This is known as the tennis tail. Now this shirt, again, depending on the length, if it's only a couple inches past the waist point on the trousers or the shorts that you're wearing with, you can wear it untucked. But the reason for that longer back is actually to wear the polo shirt tucked in so that it doesn't come untucked whenever you're out there on the tennis court or throughout the day. And I do think if you're wearing it with a sports jacket, if you're wearing it with a suit, in that case, you probably should tuck it in. Now, with the combination I'm wearing right here, I've got a dress shirt polo made from a performance fabric. Now, the sweater is a lightweight cashmere merino wool, and because of the lightness, the overall close fit to the body, I can actually add a third layer, and that's where I think layering gets really interesting is when you start to have 4 layers, because yes, that would count as 4 layers if I was wearing a necktie. But you see how that combination would work because the level of formality of all 4 items would be in alignment. And in case you're wondering, when it comes to necktie knots, I recommend when you're layering, I like the 4 in hand or the half Windsor because they're not overly bulky. So can you spot the error with these shirt and sweater combinations? We've got look number 1 right here, a white collared shirt with a gray sweater. Next up, that same sweater style, but we're going with a more vibrant color, this green, mixed in with a collared shirt whose base color is blue, but if you look closely, a distinctive pattern. And then we've got the combination I'm wearing right here, a medium gray sweater with a brown suede accent with a navy blue collared shirt. What do you think? Did you spot the mistake? Well, gents, I don't know how you didn't see this, but I wasn't wearing pants with any of those combinations. Here, I'll show you. Nope, just kidding. I don't want to scar you guys, but no, seriously, I do wear pants in my videos. But to the point, Layering a shirt with a sweater can be done in an infinite number of ways. Some combinations are going to make you look great. Other combinations, well, they can make you look like you have no fashion sense at all. So now let's talk about color matching. Probably the biggest difference you saw there were the ways that the colors worked with each other. Now this combination right here is the most muted. We've got a regular gray mixed in with a dark blue, and the accent color here, like I said, is that little bit of suede right there, that brown, but it definitely doesn't scream in your face. All of these colors right here are what are known as neutrals. Neutrals are those base colors that everything else can be built on. They don't really grab that much attention, but that's a great thing because they work with each other. They're easy to combine. You don't have to think about it. As long as you nail the fit, you are going to look good. Now, the next combination I want to talk about is that of a high contrast combination. We see this a lot of times in formal wear, but depending on the style and the materials that are being used, it can also be casual. But usually for this contrast, we're going to see a light color and a dark color right next to each other. Now, the key with a contrast combination is it draws the eyes in. The darker color is going to be the majority of what we see, and the lighter color is going to be used for a little bit of accent contrast, which is exactly what we see in this gray and white shirt combination here. Now, what about when we bring in a pop of color? Now, if there's any mistake I made with this combination right here, and that is I brought in too much color. The sweater in of itself is not a common color that you see people pulling off, especially men. I'm not sure it works really well with my skin tone. Usually I go towards more of an olive green, but I wanted to try it out, and I do recommend that you try out colors because you're never going to truly know if something works for you until you hold it up next to your face, up next to your skin. Now, the shirt contrasts with the sweater not only because it's a different color, but notice how there's a subtle pattern in the shirt. However, I don't think the contrast is high. I do think the combination works, although overall it does lean a little bit more casual. Now, right next to color, we've got patterns and texture. So in general, we're going to see most of the patterns in the shirts. You can bring in a striped or a patterned sweater, but because visually it's something we see more of, I think it's harder to pull off and you're not going to get as many miles out of a sweater that has a distinctive pattern. Although there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you've already got a lot of solid sweaters in your collection. Bringing in something with a little bit of pop, a little bit of pattern is not a bad thing. You're going to be able to mix it and match it with a number of different neutral sweaters. Yeah, by sticking with pattern shirts, you're probably going to get more bang for your dollar. But it's in texture that the sweaters really have the big advantage. With shirts, most of the time, we're going to see performance fabrics, but usually we're going to have a tight weave that either has a little bit of a sheen or not much to it. The sweaters, on the other hand, are usually going to have a slight napped surface, so they're going to have that softness to them. And depending on the weave, depending on the knit, you could have knits that are tight, they're going to have a very smooth, thin look to them, or you can have heavier knits that are going to have a much bulkier overall textured look and feel. Now, the tighter knit sweaters, whether they're made from cotton, wool, or cashmere, are going to be the dressier ones. And the heavier knit, larger, bulkier sweaters, those in general are going to be more casual. But yeah, when you're layering, texture is one of those secret weapons because you could have that cotton shirt with that wool sweater with a silk necktie, all three of them, different textures working with each other. You can have the same exact color, and yet it's still going to give this really nice, elegant, layered look. Now, I was at an event with my wife, and it was kind of fancy. Most of the guys were wearing blazers, sports jackets, or suits. And then I see this guy out of the corner of my eye wearing his dress shirt untucked. And to be clear, I'm not judging this guy. In fact, I thought the rest of his outfit looked fine, and I'm sure he made a conscious decision to wear the shirt like that. I mean, he was walking around with what looked to be pretty decent confidence. But the reality, gents, is when it comes to dress shirts, they're made to be tucked in. And by that, I mean the dress shirt is designed in a way that it's going to look best on a man when that bottom hem is properly tucked into his trousers. The next two mistakes you want to avoid, make sure you get a great fit on the cuff and on the collar. So on most off-the-rack shirts, these are shirts not made custom, you're going to notice there's two buttons here on the collar. The two buttons are there to give you two options when it comes to fit. And you know you have a good fit on the cuff when it fits smoothly around the wrist, not tight, but definitely not overly loose because you don't want your hand to slip through. Seriously, if you ever had a shirt that the cuff is too large, paired with sleeves that are too long, you're going to have that cuff covering your hand and it's just not a great look. Now, a quick hack here, if you don't have a great fit on the cuff, is that you can actually move the button. Yeah, you can cut it off, you can re-sew it on to exactly the right point that fits you. Oh, and on a side note, if you wear a watch, make sure you always leave a little bit of extra room so your watch can slide in and out. Now with collars, the mistake I see most often is either going with the wrong style or getting the wrong fit. So shirt collars come in a wide variety of styles, but as you can see from the chart right here, there are two main factors that affect its overall appearance. They are the point length and the point spread. Now, the average shirt collar point length is going to be between 2 and 3 inches. The average spread for a classic collar is going to be between 50 and 70 degrees. Once you start going outside those bounds, all of a sudden you start affecting the overall shape, look, and style of the collar. Increase the angle of the collar spread, shorten those points, all of a sudden you have a widespread collar, which is going to be a more casual style, great if you want to wear a wider necktie knot or wear that shirt without a necktie. Bring it in a little bit more narrow, you're going to need to go with a smaller knot, a smaller necktie. And by the way, these type of shirts in anything below 60 degrees, I think it looks incomplete without a necktie. So yeah, if you got a narrow collar spread, don't try wearing this sans necktie. Now, if you're looking to level up your style, you really need to check out my free community over on School. I've set this community up so we've got free classes that you can make your way through step by step and learn the basic foundations of men's style. We actually have giveaways. In fact, this year alone, I've given away over $15,000 in gear that has accumulated here in my office, and I love sending it out to you guys free of charge. And I have to say, the men that are in this group are friggin' awesome. We've got a no a-hole policy. People treat each other with respect. And what we've managed to create in this community is a place where a man can come in and ask questions and get some solid advice. So gents, use the link in the description of today's video. Go check out our free communities on School. These are for you to become the man you know yourself to be. So one of the biggest mistakes I see guys making when they're trying to style a bomber jacket is they're wearing the wrong size. The reality is that most guys are buying a size that's too large for them. Now, having gone through the fitting process of getting a bomber jacket, I understand why. When most guys are buying a winter jacket, they expect to layer with it. So they want enough room underneath that they could wear a bulky sweater. Unfortunately, this rule of thumb doesn't work when you're buying a bomber because of the elastic on the arm and on the waist area. You see, bomber jackets are an interesting mix of a loose fit in the body and then a closer fit on the arms and on the waist. And the reason goes back to its military history. You see, the elastic around the waist and around the wrists was meant to be able to keep the cold out and the warm in, while the excess room in the torso area was for the equipment a pilot would often carry. This could include a sidearm, breathing equipment, or maps or important information that the pilot would need if he had to ditch the airplane quick. In fact, when it came to layering, usually a pilot was wearing only his flight suit underneath. So how to get the perfect fit? Pay attention to the shoulders. Don't wear bulky clothing underneath, and go ahead and simply put the jacket on and look how it fits you in the shoulder points. All right, Jen, so the next mistake a lot of guys make when they're trying to style a bomber jacket is they wear the wrong type of trousers. So there are many options, and I'm not saying one is better than the other. You may prefer chinos, you want to go with your jeans, maybe probably not shorts, but I am going to say a lot of guys for some reason seem to gear toward, oh, I'm going to wear some cargo pants. Don't do that. Okay, we've already got the big pocket right here. You also don't want to wear skinny jeans, and you don't want to wear oversized jeans. It's going to be more straight fit jeans, maybe something with a bit of trim. You could probably wear a looser fit if that is your style, but don't go with baggy. Again, one of the extremes here, it just doesn't work with this particular jacket style. Perhaps the best bit of advice I can give you right here, and this applies actually to wearing any type of outfit, is to look at yourself in a full length mirror straight on. This is going to enable you to see just any mixed matched proportions. And that's what we're watching for, because again, with the bomber jacket, we're going to have a little bit of excess material around the midsection, but you're going to be tighter in and around the waist and the wrist. And this can cause the wrong type of trousers, especially again if they're a loose or a really close fit. It can throw the whole look off. So you want to avoid those. Again, straight fit jeans, maybe a bit of a trim fit, or like that. Not skinny, but slim is fine.
What? What the?
So the first mistake most people make when applying a fragrance is they rub it in. Now, I get why people do this. Maybe they're testing a fragrance, they want to put it on various parts of the body, but they don't want to put too much on. They want to spread it out. And to be transparent, personally, I did this for years. The problem, though, is when you're rubbing in a fragrance, you're mixing the oils on your skin with the oils in the fragrance, and you're not allowing the fragrance to dissipate naturally. When you rub the fragrance, you're basically mixing up the notes. I mean, think about it if it was a piece of music. It definitely wouldn't sound the same, right? The next mistake you want to avoid when wearing a fragrance is the mist cloud. Now, if you're in a low gravity situation and you've got a clone fragrance, and yeah, you have a lot that you're okay wasting, you can, I guess if that's your habit, go for it. But I think for most of us, especially again, if you're spending a lot of money on a great fragrance, you don't want to do the mist cloud because more than half of that stuff does not end up on you. Instead, it ends up on the floor and it's just a big waste. 1/4 of an inch, 6.35 millimeters. That's about the width of the microphone part on your AirPods, the width of 65 sheets of paper, the width of a case of a relatively thin watch. So believe it or not, that small amount makes a big difference when choosing the right belt for your jeans. You see, dress belts made to be worn with dress pants are on average 1.25 inches in width. More casual belts, the type meant to be worn with jeans, come in at 1.5 to 1.75 inches in width. The next mistake is always matching your belt color with your shoes. Now, the majority of the time, you do want to follow this rule of matching leathers with leathers. However, if you're wearing a shoe in a non-traditional color, such as white, gray, green, or even a multicolor shoe, in this case, you've got a couple options. First up, of course, you can try to match the shoes, although this doesn't always look good with every color, especially white. But a better option here is to find a belt color that complements the outfit. Notice here, even with the light colored shoes, I went with a darker belt that creates a more monochromatic look with the denim. And here's the same principle with light colored denim, dark shoes. Notice how that belt just blends in. Now, visually, the reason this works is we keep the leg line intact. We don't have a high contrast color, drawing any attention to the midsection. And because the belt is similar in color to the denim, it actually lengthens the leg line because it doesn't break up the trousers and allows our eyes to go up and down. Which, by the way, is a great look for a lot of shorter guys who in general have shorter legs and a longer torso proportionally. Next up, one of the biggest mistakes that most men make when it comes to scarves is they don't know how to tie a scarf properly. Now, really quick, let me give you 3 simple but masculine tie knots. So first up, we've got the 4-in-hand. This is a great choice for longer scarves. Now, this knot is going to protect the neck from the cold, and it's the perfect option when it is freezing outside. So to start with, fold the scarf in half, both length and width-wise, and then drape it over your neck. After that, take one of the loose ends and pull it through the loop formed by the folded end. Twist the loop, then pull the other end through the loop. After that, just adjust the knot until it looks how you want it to. All right, now if that one's too complicated, let's really simplify this with the classic Parisian knot. Now, the Parisian knot is a very classic looking scarf knot, and for some reason, a lot of guys don't even know about it. I like it because it provides good warmth to the neck, and it's perfect, again, for a little bit longer of a scarf. So you want to start by folding the scarf in half. You want to drape it over the neck, and then bring the loose ends through the hole formed by the folded end. After this, you just tighten the scarf around the neck, not too tight, and adjust as you want it, and boom, here you go. And if that looks a little bit too over the top for you, you want something that just is not only easy to tie, but simple looking, the twice around. The twice around is a great choice for freezing weather. Next to the 4-in-hand, it's one of the warmest methods out there to wear a scarf, but it's very simple to tie. Again, it works best if you're using a longer scarf. Start off by draping the scarf over your neck. Make one end much longer than the other. Now take the long end and wrap it around your neck. Then repeat again and bring it around your neck a second time. Adjust if needed to completely cover your neck, and you're all set for whatever the winter weather has in store for you. Now, gents, if you love wearing scarves, do me a favor and smash the like button. If you don't like wearing scarves, if you are now just discovering the scarf, do me a favor and smash the like button, because when you do this, it lets the YouTube gods know that, hey, this video is worth sharing. So one of the biggest mistakes men make when they're wearing Chelsea boots, they wear these boots with the wrong type of pants. So as most of you guys know, trousers come in a variety of cuts. You got skinny, slim, tapered, straight, loose, and baggy. Now, historically, Chelsea boots have been designed in a way that they work with a slimmer silhouette. So what that means in general, Chelseas need to be paired up with trousers that have a skinny, slim, or tapered cut. Any type of jean or trouser that's got a loose or a baggy cut, well, Chelseas just aren't going to pair well with them. Now, what about a straight cut, especially in denim? Well, in that case, you're going to want to choose a Chelsea boot whose style is a bit chunkier. You want a style that's going to be a little bit more robust. Instead of having a leather bottom, we've got a nice thick rubber tread. And when compared toe to toe with a pair of Chelseas that have more of a leather dress shoe type sole, you can clearly see the difference in the heaviness and overall size of the silhouette. Well, a Chelsea boot with that heavier proportion can be worn with straight jeans, or maybe even a pair of gray flannels, cavalry twill, or chinos with a looser cut. Now, the next mistake I see guys making when they're trying to style Chelsea boots, how they're wearing them wrong, is they don't understand the importance of color and material. So in general, darker colors and smooth leathers are going to be more formal. Lighter colors and non-smooth materials like suede are going to be more casual. Now, the reality is a lot of boots out there don't fall on one of those two extremes. They fall somewhere in the middle. Right here, we've got a dark pair of Chelsea boots, but they're made from a suede material. So where do these fall? The quick answer is you usually can go down, but you can't always go back up. So would I be able to wear these with a suit? Probably not. But I could wear these with jeans, I could wear these with chinos, a cavalry twill. Maybe because flannel has a napped surface and this has a little bit of texture, I wouldn't try to mix that combination. But no, you could wear this with a lot of different combinations and it'd look good. This pair, on the other hand, lighter color with the suede again. Yes, this is going to be even more casual than that last pair. And this pair right here, even though it has an overall sleek design, more like a dress boot, it's still going to be casual. I could wear this with a pair of odd trousers, with a casual ensemble, maybe even a light or dark sports jacket. But yeah, this is not one I would ever dress up with a formal suit. Now, speaking of formal suits, am I saying that you could wear this with a morning suit or a tuxedo? No. By formal suit, what I'm talking about is a dark colored regular business suit. If it was raining, if there's a bit of snow, I have no problem with a guy wearing a pair of dark colored Chelsea boots to give himself a little bit more traction and protection. That being said, Chelsea boots in general are more casual than a dress shoe made to go with the suit like Balmoral Oxfords, but they can get a pass when conditions call for them. Next up, if a man's wearing Western boots, should he tuck his jeans into the boot's shaft? Now, I know some of you guys are thinking, come on, Antonio, a man never tucks his jeans into his boots. And for most guys, that advice is spot on. Now, you will see women in various situations tucking their jeans or trousers right into the boots, and that's because they're wearing the boots as a fashion piece. I mean, hey, they got a good looking shaft on their leg, they want to show it off. But for most men, the boot is less fashion than it is function because they're comfortable, because they work with your outfit, because for a lot of guys, they become their day-to-day wear. That being said, there are situations in which a man would want to tuck his jeans into his boots. Maybe you're walking across town, walking across the farm, and it is raining. There's mud out there. You want to protect your pants. You don't want to get them dirty, then tuck them into the boots. Or maybe you're riding a horse or a motorbike and you're going through brush and you want to better protect your legs without, damaging your trousers. Historically, that was the purpose for the high shaft, protection from the elements, animals, brush, anything you can think of. Now, at this point, I want to go a little bit deeper into what exactly is a Western boot, a cowboy boot. Those words used interchangeability, although cowboy is more of a style. But the Western boot, which includes the roper, includes the cowboy, includes the buckaroo, in general, when we look at the pieces, we're going to see that there really isn't lacing. Again, there are some ropers with lacing, but I'm skipping those. We see that really it's a very similar style to what we see as the Chelsea, but the big thing here is going to be the shaft. In a nutshell, the Western boot has a very distinctive style, but there are going to be some characteristic differences in the different families and the function of the boot. Let's look at the toe. We talked about the square toe. And this one, again, very functional when you're working on a farm, you're working on a ranch, you want to be able to kick something, use those feet for more than just walking. You got the traditional. And again, this one is great, especially for dress boots. But one of the issues is that you don't want to kick things that you can puncture. Next up, you've got the snip toe. A lot of guys really like this because it's easy to get in and out of the saddle. At the same time, it is functional for them. And then you've got the more rounded toe. We see this on a lot of ropers or a guy that's got a wider foot. This is probably going to be one of the most comfortable styles out there. The next mistake I want to talk about is not buying the right style for your needs. First up, let's look at one of this classic pair of boots right here. And this is very similar to the first pair of boots I ever bought as a teenager when I wanted to go out dancing. I went with black because it's one of the easiest colors, going to already match a lot of things in your wardrobe. When you wear a pair of pants over this, you're going to notice that, hey, actually, most people won't even notice you're wearing boots, but you are going to stand taller. And again, what you want on a pair of boots like this to be able to move across the dance floor, that's where a lot of people use it, is simply, hey, you want to have that little bit, you want to have that leather right here on the base. You can have rubber back here. This gives you a little bit more traction, and I do like that. But you want to be able to glide, you want to be able to move. Now, could you use this in a horse? Yes, you could. And I know some of you guys do own animals and you're up on horseback, so it would make a great, basically the heel was designed, the cowboy heel, and traditionally cowboy heels are even longer than this. So it can go 1.5 inches to almost 2 inches. That would allow you to be able to get a really firm grip in the saddle. And I know I just misspoke there. I meant stirrup, but in general on a saddle, if you know all the parts of it, which I'm not going to get into those details. I did grow up riding horses, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. Any West Texans out there and are from Midland, Odessa, Midland, Greenwood, that's where actually I'm from. But let's talk about a more functional boot. This is one that you definitely want to have a rubber sole, and there's a number of companies that have made names for themselves. Now, practicality or historically, this isn't something that we saw at rubber soles, but when it comes to being able to get traction, if you're going to just want a pair of boots that you can slip on, slip off, you're going to be working in, that's where actually having a square toe is really nice because you can kick things, kick machinery. You know how it is. You kick it, it starts to work again. Guys, This is a practical, simple boot. In addition, the leather is going to be very rugged. It's going to be able to splash water in it, throw water in it, walk through puddles, walk through mud, and you want to be able to clean these up. You'll also notice the color here is lighter. Those other ones you could actually wear with a sports jacket. You could dress them up. I mean, gosh, you could even wear, go with the Texas tux, where you basically have a tux on top, then you've got black jeans with the boots. But I know not really a thing outside of Texas, but this right here, these are going to be casual. You can wear them with jeans every day, but not really going to dress these up too much because they're always going to be casual in style. That being said, you wear these with jeans and a t-shirt, maybe a long sleeve Henley. It's a good look. But if those last two styles are a little bit too cowboy for you, then you want to go for ropers. And I know there are ropers out there with laces. In general, the ropers I'm talking about are going to be slip on and slip off. So they're not going to have any type of lacing. The shaft is going to be shorter. For a lot of guys, this is a great place to start. They're not as heavy, although cowboy boots in general are not, I don't think, very heavy. But right here, you'll also see at the bottom, we've got the rubber sole in the back. We've got the leather right here. So these are also great for dancing. The heel in general on the roper as well is going to be a little bit wider. So these are just easier to walk in. If you're getting your first pair, I highly recommend you look at ropers. And that being said, gents, I've got you covered with another video. Boom, right here. Yeah, come on. Don't stop watching. I got you covered. Boom, right here. Check it out. Solid video. Oh, yeah, I know you'll like it right there. Come on. Click. Come on. Boom, right there.